And within the university system, no, I must place the union in proper perspective for people to understand.
Hello and welcome to the program. President Muhammadu Buhari has spent 100 days in office. He was actually sworn in on the 29th of May 2015, and of course, he's now 100 days in office. And the debate now is whether he's been able to deliver. As a matter of fact, there's even an argument as to whether he actually made any promise to do anything or set any timeline at all for the first 100 days. We've seen several people come out to say Buhari did make some promises that he was going to deliver on certain things over the next 100 days. And then the presidency has come out strongly to deny that the president ever promised to deliver on certain things in 100 days. And of course, we saw that video from Chatham House where the president basically said he does not believe in the whole concept of 100 days. But whether we like it or not, has anything happened in this country between when President Buhari was sworn in May 29th and now? That's what we're trying to find out. I'm being joined on the program now by two gentlemen. Taufik Ghani is actually the spokesperson of the PDP here in Lagos, and I also have a political affairs analyst, Nelson Ekujimi. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. I think I'll have to start with you. 100 days of the Buhari's administration. Can you see any progress?
One will say that 100 days is maybe too short to assess the performance of a president.
But it's just because we're used to talking about 100 days.
Indeed, and because it is also historical. Indeed, even the APC, when it was in opposition, will even judge the PDP presidency even within 50 days. As though they may have no moral justification to deny that a 100-day assessment is in our history.
So it's your time now to judge this.
Very well, and they should expect it. And that is why it is very laughable, and maybe they forgot that the history is there. Why would anybody even deny that they never made a promise of 100 days? There is a direct and indirect promise in electioneering. When you go on the podium to campaign for votes, you are making direct promises on issues. Okay. And people are also expecting dividends. So those expectations, that whether you mention or not, they are the indirect promises. And so if within 100 days of something that should happen, nothing has happened, and the APC is even proud to say that they never made any promise of a 100-day assessment, it is an admission of failure of performance.
No, the APC, what the APC has said is, look, we did not make any promise at all, but that we've been able to do so much. But let me ask you, let's forget this argument of whether somebody made a promise or not. What will be your own assessment of the Buhari's government over the past 100 days?
I think indeed it's been more of a newspaper, more of propaganda than actual performance. Let me single out one, the issue of anti-corruption. Honestly speaking, you don't need 1,000 days. Even if you cannot build a new national stadium within 100 days, okay, we can't assess you on that. We can't assess you on, but we can assess you on our forex, the value of Naira, which has continued to dwindle. Within 100 days, we can assess you. We can also assess you on even what you have come to use as your own mantra of leadership. For leadership that's anti-corruption. You don't even need 100 hours to get serious about anti-corruption. Arrest these people.
So
we know these people.
You mean this government is not serious about anti-corruption?
I am saying it with all sense of responsibility that if President Buhari were to be very serious, some people who are surrounding him, who are working all around with him, will have fled this country. If they know well that this man is serious and we come and get them, whether they are APC or not, whether they sponsored him or not, they will have fled this country, honestly speaking. And what is this Ula Balu about anti-corruption? It didn't start from Buhari. General Obasanjo did more than Buhari in terms of fighting corruption. And all these things are there. But I think, unfortunately, we may still continue to concede this propaganda power of APC. And that is what they are still using. President Buhari, by my own assessment, is performance being projected on the basis of President Buhari was never a sinner or that is now a repentant. Now I say it because This was a man who politically remains a sinner to me, because in 1983 he overthrew democratically elected government. This was a person who was president, head of state of this country, who was minister for petroleum, and who was coordinator of PTF under the assumed worst administration in this country, Sani Abacha. And he was able to contest elections, presidential election, with that magnitude 4 times, and you say is not somebody who was also escalating in his country. So how did he make that money? Because
what money did he make now?
The money which he was able to use to contest presidential elections 4 times.
Okay, I understand your position now. Nelson, let me come to you. What would be your own assessment?
Thank you very much. I think in the last 100 days, quite a lot has changed in the Nigerian environment. If you look at the issue of power, electricity, it has improved tremendously in our homes. In fact, this morning I was at a public consultation by Ikeja Electric on tariff review. And, some of the invitees from the various local governments, especially the CDA, the CDA is known as the Community Development Associations. People came and they were lamenting that, oh my God, what has happened? In the last 4 years or thereabout, we've not had electricity. How come Buhari won, now we're having electricity? What has changed? And to be honest
but some people give that credit to
No, and to be honest to you, it's not that President Muhammadu Buhari has added any grid to the national grid. The truth of the matter is that the past administration, there was nobody in charge. The man himself came out publicly to admit that he was held hostage by a cabal. But today, a new sheriff is in town. Everybody is sitting up. Today, the fight against corruption, even though President Muhammadu Buhari has not started it. I listened to my colleague here on the table saying President Muhammadu Buhari should have arrested. I'm sure we are all aware that we are practicing constitutional democracy based on the rule of law. President Muhammadu Buhari is the president and the head of the executive arm of government. And he alone cannot arrest anybody unless he wants to violate a constitution which he swore on oath to uphold. Because you can only arrest somebody and prosecute him when you have the facts. And you and I know that even Mr. President cannot jail anybody except the judiciary. And we must also remember that the fight against corruption has suffered from lack of diligent prosecution all these years. That is why a lot of cases are pending in courts, maybe for about 7 years or more. And we even have laughable cases like when some courts tell us that some persons should not be prosecuted. So you wonder what type of banana republic we were in before. Today, Nigerians have a fresh hope in their country. Today, the president of Nigeria went to the US, and the president of America on his own said, this is a man of integrity. It's akin to what happened to Jesus in the Bible when the dove came down from heaven and, he said, this is my begotten son in whom I am well pleased. You yourself will know that that is the chosen one. Whatever anybody may say, because we must also realize that the culture of lawlessness, criminality, and impunity that pervaded the past era is no more there. Today, we have politicians. Everybody is sitting up. Nobody is running to anybody for appointments. We have a president that what will qualify you for appointment, no matter where you come from, is based on your pedigree and integrity. He's no longer somebody bribing anybody to be given public office. And people should expect that some...
Was it the case in the past?
No, it wasn't. In the past, it was a bazaar. In the past, we had a government that only existed in name. That is why today, the minister for the PAMSEC, the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Power, Ambassador Igali, publicly came out and said vandalization of pipelines and gas turbines has drastically gone down. Yesterday I was watching the news. The Nigerian Navy were showing the number of arrests they have made about bunkers. This was the past government came into office. The bunkering and stealing of our crude oil was less than 100,000 barrels per day. Under the last government, in the last 4 years, we had over 400,000 barrels per day being stolen, crude oil of Nigeria. But today, everything is taking shape, not because President Muhammadu Buhari has, done anything fantastic. But because of the fact that people realize that, look, this is a man of integrity, this is a man you cannot toy with, this is a man that knows his responsibility, this is a man that cannot be caged by any cabal. And for us, Nigerians, we know that this is a new dawn, and we're happy.
You want to react to that?
Very well, indeed. First, let me say that I think it was magnanimous enough to concede that it's not like President Buhari has done anything in the area of power.
But that leadership he provides has actually changed the game.
Well, I think I can, to some extent, I agree. But and maybe for me to put it in proper perspective, I give you an instance. Probably the people who got the opportunity to take over the electricity sector, probably they were so relaxed that, yes, they were still dealing with the same government that gave them the opportunity. And this is just a natural phenomenon. There's a change of betting. You don't know what the other person will do. So you will naturally get serious about, and I think,
and part of the reason why they're getting serious is because they know who this man is.
Very well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I can concede that.
Which is good.
And that is why it is important for us to know that, yes, Jonathan did increase the power plants and everything, but probably the personality behind the presidency now, President Jonathan, fear is now why they are generating the much and releasing it to the public. That's why we probably have stable power supply now. But in terms of the engineering, which is the fact that everybody should look at, it was President Jonathan.
But leadership is very critical.
Very,
and
very,
if leadership is why we're enjoying, better public power supply now, then it's actually key.
Very well, I agree. I agree with you. And then it is also important to also say that it was not like we didn't enjoy it even under President Jonathan. But if you remember, in one of our analyses, we actually came out and said that this President Jonathan, was facing the most militarized, the most organized opposition, in which he himself, at a point in time, could not bear it. He became very emotional. He said, I mean, what is happening? Because they wanted to win elections, they were bombing the gas pipelines. They were making the country ungovernable for President Jonathan. And for God's sake, we need to change our style.
Would you say this president is making some progress in the fight against the insurgency? Because, of course, when he came into office, we have, the incidence of bombing spiked. But now, we must tell ourselves the truth. It's going down, and Boko Haram has been dealt a serious blow as we speak. And the military coming out today, for instance, to say, look, it is determined to ensure that it's going to meet that 3-month deadline now given to it to end the Boko Haram insurgency. Honestly,
I have to say, the bombing is not going down. What is going down, I'll put in my own perspective. How I believe is that, one, President Buhari is a military man. He has showed that he is far better than President Jonathan, who we know is a civilian, in the area of strategizing by directing the service chiefs to do this, do that, do this. That's one. Two, let me also say that we must understand this Boko Haram insurgency. It ordinarily would not have been so easy, considering the nature of our living together, the Hausa, the Igbo, the Yoruba, for somebody who is non-Hausa to go and fight Boko Haram per se, the manner that, to the glory of God, President Buhari may fight Boko Haram. If President Buhari fights Boko Haram anyhow in the north, they won't see him as killing Hausas. They will see him as a president who is probably even fighting for them not to be killed. But if a non-Hausa like President Jonathan is, if he had fought them mercilessly, they will tell you, they will say he's killing us, so they will take him to ICC. So
that's the reason he didn't fight. So.
It's not that he didn't fight. That was probably the reason he fought very tactically. I mean, we will give it to him. Before he left office,
anyway, this is not about judging President Jonathan's government. We're actually looking at the progress made so far by this government.
Yes.
But you're considering that, look, there's been some kind of progress over the past 100 days now in the fight against the insurgency.
There should be, but I don't think there is enough progress that we can give to President Buhari, considering his background and the support that he now has. All the
basically you're saying it's just normal.
All the arms,
it's
the
natural.
ammunition, the planes, everything that President Buhari ordered, President Goodluck Jonathan ordered, he's also lucky that all these are arriving in his own period. So we feel that it should even have been better. The fight against insurgency should even have been better than what we have on ground.
In just 100 days.
Yes, very well, very well.
Nelson, one of the I would say one of the issues by which, whether we like it or not, Buhari's government will eventually be judged is the economy. You look at the economy today; it's still in the doldrums. I mean,
Definitely.
things are not so rosy yet. You think in the past 100 days, this president has taken enough steps at all to address this problem, especially when you consider the fact that up till this moment, we haven't got ministers in place?
Yes, definitely. The economy has not picked up, but we must admit that the economy has not fared worse than it was before 100 days. Because of the fact that even people who are doing businesses now know that if you don't have genuine businesses to transact, to do, you cannot get the foreign exchange from the central bank. In as much as the government has not appointed ministers, I tell you, he admitted, and it's so glaring. What was just lacking then was leadership. The leadership was just on a wall, absence without leave. Because I find it laughable when somebody that has is on the mantle of leadership, that was voted into office as the president and commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, can come out and say he is caged. Caged by who? Who gave the cagers authority? You have all the authority of the state to crush anybody that is taking any move that will hinder you from performing your responsibility to the generality of Nigerians. So it showed that the leadership then was serving just the interests of a cabal rather than the interests of the Nigerian people who voted it into office. The economy, I'm very, very sure. But by the time the president appoints his ministers, the government, will go on full swing. Because even before now, despite the fact that we were not in office, looking at how the past government ran the economy, why Nigerians came out en masse and were determined that the past government must exit office, was because we saw it just like in 1983. When the government of President Shagari was terminated, we knew this government was going to crash the ship of the Nigerian state because it was a bazaar. It was a free-for-all. The evidences are there in every facet of the economy. And to make matters worse, this government couldn't have done more than what they are doing now because they met a total mess. I'm not in government, but we have information of what the previous government did. Look at the issue of bribing of people prior to the elections. Do you think they were bribing them with pure water? No, it was Nigeria's money. And you remember, only recently, the governor of Edo State, Adam Oshiomhole, accused the Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Okonjo-Iweala, of squandering $1 billion. And at first, he said that money was discussed at the FAC, the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, only for the members of the FAC to come out and say, we never discussed that money. She now retracted 360, just like your television station, 360, TV 360, and said it was President Goodluck Jonathan that told her to use that money for fuel subsidy. It is criminal. Because that money did not belong to President Goodluck.
Anyway,
it was the Nigerian
as I said,
money.
this is not about President.
It is important that we let Nigerians know. In the first place, I don't know where he got his information about people bribing during elections. But I think it is important. President Goodluck Jonathan raised the bar of Nigeria's economy for Nigeria's economy to become the best in Africa. As a result of that, of the good economy, President Goodluck Jonathan became the first president of Nigeria to be invited to America to ring the New York Stock Exchange bell. I mean, it goes a long way. So many others that I may not be able to say now. So if you are, and then he left office leaving dollar at 197, and this can be Googled. As we talk today, dollar is rolling over 220, and we're saying that we have the uncertainty which President Buhari has put into the Nigeria's economy is why this economy is going down. The uncertainty that we don't even have a minister for finance, we don't know what he will come up with. We don't have a monetary policy for a man who contested the presidency 4 times. You see, don't let us begin to speak even more than President Buhari. I think it's one thing I give to him. Maybe he's very fearful. The age is nearing. He will always be faithful. He will admit, he will tell you that yes, I have not done this and I cannot even do this. So it's not for people to become louder than
no, but generally we all agree that the past 100 days has not really been too bad. He's actually achieved.
Maybe the other way around has not been too good.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you very much.
Let's just hope the next 100 days will be better.
Very well, that is our prayer.
Than the past
because
100
first and
days.
foremost, we must be patriots.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still Nigeria, irrespective of the party, the political party we belong to. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Well, we'll take a short break now. When we come back, we'll get the view of the All Progressives Congress. That's the spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress will join us on the program to speak about the past 100 days of the Buhari's administration. Continue to stay tuned. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. Well, I'm now being joined by Lai Mohammed, who is a spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress, to talk about Buhari's 100 days in office. Thank you very much, Alhaji Mohammed, for joining us on the program. Let's begin by asking you, is it true that your party has actually come out to deny that President Buhari now actually made a pledge to achieve or set a milestone for himself now for his first 100 days in office?
There is no evidence, no record, no document to the effect that General Buhari of the party actually ever promised anything within the next 100 days. And I think this controversy has been put beyond doubt with the recorded, interview of General Muhammadu Buhari in Chatham House in February, when he was asked the same question, and he said, "No, I don't believe in 100 days. I believe in planning. I believe in milestones. 100 days is a fraud. I don't want to be part of that fraud." And I think he said it in his own words, loud and clear, and that should put an end to that controversy.
But let me ask you then, what would you say the president has been able to achieve in the past 100 days?
I think the president has been able to live, up to all his electoral promises, and he has laid the foundation of combating corruption, of fighting insecurity, and improving our economy in the last 100 days. You would remember that as soon as the president was sworn in, he commenced this shuttle diplomacy first to our neighbors in Niger and Chad, followed by his visit to Cameroon and Benin Republic, and shortly after, he hosted the Lake Chad Basin Commission, all in an attempt to rally regional support against the Boko Haram, insurgency. After which he flew to meet the G7 in Germany, and there again he got support for his fight against terrorism. And in his last trip to the US, he was able not only to get support from the US, but even to convince the US to suspend the Lee law, which would have been an obstacle to training and arming our soldiers by the United States of America. Today, what we have is a rejuvenated Nigerian army who is now taking the war straight to the Boko Haram. And I think the last few days in particular, we've recorded a lot of success in the fight against Boko Haram. Only yesterday, the Air Force was able to destroy all the solar panels in the Sambisa forest. And before then, they were able to also cut off the supply, of fuel to the Boko Haram. So I think in the last 100 days, the stage has been set for the final onslaught on Boko Haram. And the president has actually given all the service chiefs, I think, a 3 months, ultimatum to defeat the Boko Haram. So in the area of security, I think the president has achieved a lot in the last 100 days. In the area of the economy, the first thing the president did was to work out a bailout package for all the states of the federation. Because by the time he assumed office on 29th of May, more than 20 states were owing their workers salary arrears ranging from 5 to 10 months. And without the bailout package, what we would have witnessed is unprecedented industrial crisis. And of course, the bailout package has also assisted in reflecting the economy, because when people have more money to spend, then they buy more goods, and then more goods are manufactured. And I'm sure you have noticed a kind of stability in the power supply in the last 100 days. And this also has helped the economy and it's helped the manufacturing industry to stabilize. I think the president has also directed that the police should employ 10,000 people immediately. This is part of the employment opportunities we promised. In the area of fighting, it's still in the area of sustaining the economy, we have brought massive reform to the oil and gas sector. And today, our refineries, we have been assured by the first quarter of 2016, all our refineries will be working optimally. And in the area of the fight against corruption, I think this is one area where the president has made his mark. He has been able...
I was going to say, let's talk about that area of corruption. Because the view from the opposition is that, look, the past 100 days since he came into office has just been, all talk about fighting corruption and all of that. And some people have been saying, look, when exactly is he going to actually settle down and start working in terms of providing development and all of that? That it's just been all talk about probing the past administration.
I think that's not correct. I've just reeled out to you what the president has achieved in the last 100 days in the area of fighting terrorism, in the area of the economy. Mr. President is not going to micromanage the fight against corruption. He does not concern himself with the investigations. It is the relevant authorities like the ICPC, like the EFCC, the DSS, that are busy doing this. This has nothing to do with the president. The presidency is focused on fighting corruption, on fighting insecurity, and also in improving our economy. So it is not as if the president is spending any time at all, fighting corruption at all. He is not distracted by the fight against corruption. There are agencies that are doing this. And like the president has always said, if all us had enough adequate laws to fight corruption, it was only the political will that was lacking. Now the political will is there, the leadership is there, and all the anti-graft agencies have suddenly woken up. So those who say that the president is spending an amount of time fighting corruption, they've got it wrong. EFCC was set up to fight corruption. ICPs was set up to fight corruption. Therefore, it's their full-time jobs, and they are doing their jobs. It is not the presidency that is doing this.
Well, the president, let's talk about something else now. The president has actually been pilloried in the media and, of course, everywhere over the seemingly lopsidedness of the appointments he's made so far. What exactly is your take on that? Because, I mean, you look at the appointments he's made so far, actually, you would say, the appointments actually appear lopsided.
I think the uproar that greeted the appointments of Mr. President so far has clearly shown that Nigerians are not thinking as a country. Nigerians are not thinking as a nation. We are still, so deeply divided along ethnic, religious, tribal, and regional lines. Otherwise, what should concern us is actually the quality, the competence of the people who have been appointed. And in any event, for a president who is going to make over 1,000 appointments, you cannot judge whether it is lopsided by the few appointments he has made so far. He has made only 35 appointments so far, and they just hue and cry. And I see a large chunk of these appointments have been personal, staff, like chief of staff, like the secretary to government, like the special assistant, senior special assistant on the National Assembly liaison and the like. I have been privileged to be a chief of staff before, and I know that a chief of staff, I was the first person the governor saw in the morning, the last person he saw at night. I was a sounding board, I was his confidant, and had access to him anytime, anywhere, including his bedroom. Such appointments cannot go to anybody you are not comfortable with. Ditto with this person who is going to be your special assistant on National Assembly matters. He must be very well schooled in the National Assembly issues. He must be rabidly loyal to the president. He must be a person who is accepted by his own people in the National Assembly. Now, but the bottom line is this. We want to assure Nigerians that this government will not run a biased administration. To be fair to all concerned, even though we say that merit and integrity and competence will be the yardstick for appointment, we are confident that we can find enough honest people, enough competent people in every part of Nigeria. I think people are a bit impatient. They should wait, and in the fullness of time, it will be clear that no part of this country will be left behind in the manner of appointments.
So your party is comfortable with the appointment made so far? You're not under pressure?
Absolutely.
All right, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for your thoughts. All right, we'll take another break now, and when we come back, the discussion continues. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.